let's go back to your question on organically grown food. Is that a better choice? When you look at conventionally grown food versus organically grown food, by far and away, organically grown food is going to be the better choice because at least you're reducing some degree of the overall toxic load of that food. Pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, fungicides. Is the organically grown food completely free of anything in the environment? No. In fact, the place where I was speaking to this a little bit more is when we had the whole trend with bone broth. So remember when bone broth, this was, gosh, I mean, I think 7 to 8 years ago, this bone broth started to come to the market and people were thinking, oh, this is great. But my first thinking, and probably yours too, was, oh my goodness, you're taking these bones and cooking them, just tearing them apart. What has stored in those bones? Yes, lead, all kinds of different metals, right? So then at the time, I had my assistant call around to the different food manufacturers of these bone broth to ask who was testing for the different toxic elements in that bone broth because food companies don't necessarily have to test for those things like supplement companies, and yet supplement companies get the short end of the stick, even though they're going through third-party testing on a lot of these things. And at that time, not a lot, only one company was testing, one company. So now you look at it, now things have changed a lot, and people would say, oh, but it's organic bone broth, so I'm okay. But organic has nothing to do with just the toxic elements in the environment and how those might infiltrate into the water, the soil, the animal, right? It only talks about the growing practices. So, all of which to say, everything to me is a spectrum. You just have to find the spectrum of not shying away from something so much to the point where your patients are fearful, they can't eat, now they have a stress response around food. But then on the other side, just being well informed too, of knowing, okay, that's a smart choice. That's probably not such a great choice for me. I'm going to feel like this afterwards. So there's a spectrum of behavior